So, okay, I mean, am I, all right, is this room, the camera's in the wrong spot? Of course, so, do I need to hold on? Can they hear me if you put this, let's put this over here, and be able to hear me with it? Yeah, because I don't want the IT guy to come in here and start. giving me reasons. Okay. Good evening. I guess it's evening and almost happy spring. Spring starts in about 5 hours. So we're here because in 5 hours, it'll be spring and it'll be time to go. So we put together a little slideshow presentation for you guys to just kind of give you the who, what, where, when, and just kind of meet the construction team that we have lined up. Those guys. So we'll go through the presentation and Stephanie, you can just paddle through the slides, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You got, you're sharing the screen for the people
Yes.
at home, right? Okay. Who else needs the sign-in sheet? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. What is a minute? Up to share screen? Yep. Okay, and flip. And we're good. I didn't change. Uh-oh. Technical issues. Right? No pressure.
Oh, it's Zoom, that's.
Start to share.
There we go.
Wasn't
Here we
there.
go. It's pretty good.
Try changing the slides. See if it
Go
works.
to the slide. Sure.
All right. Cool. All right, purpose of tonight's meeting is to review the project team, limits and the scope of work. And progression of schedule, traffic patterns, and where you can get public information. And then we'll do questions all at the end, okay? And I know you're gonna have questions, but
We have somebody with a raised hand, which makes me wonder if they cannot see it, so.
hi, Tom, can you hear us?
You need to unmute.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, I can hear you. We can't see the slides. I just see the directory screen.
Okay.
You want to actually click on the one that has it open, not to open it. You want to have the,
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
I've seen this done like 6,000 times.
Actually, glad you came.
You're still.
Tom, can you see it now?
No, I'm sorry. I could see it before, but I can't see it now. We're still just seeing the directory screen. There we go.
All right.
All right. Hey.
Okay.
Not all of it.
Okay, next slide. All right. Project team is, of course, the city of Portsmouth. Underwood Engineering, which is immediately to the left of Stephanie here, is Matt Hall and Brad Cherith. And Severino Trucking, our illustrious guests.
So
Right.
privileged. Wrong side of the table.
So we have Roger and Mark here from Severino. They'll be the people that you see between them. Mostly Roger. And mostly Brad in the blue vest over here. They'll be the people on the street every day. And then if I'm there, that means one of them's in trouble.
Thanks, Larry.
Next slide. So for the city people, people involved, most of the project are Eric Fiedler, which is over in the corner.
You don't have to talk to me. You can talk to Dave first.
I am your point of contact. I am Dave Wilson, project manager. Been with the city for almost a quarter of a century, so I've been around. Most of you know me. Sean Clancy, Economic Development, is here in the white shirt, he's all professional. And Monty Bonin is behind him. He's here to fix the PowerPoint presentation when he'll be coordinating our distribution of information to you guys as things come out. Between him and Stephanie Secord is here too. She works in our office as well, and she helps me get all the information out to the public.
Just not get screen sharing.
Right, yeah. Next slide.
Just look at the seat.
Yeah, and then from Underwood, Matt Hall is next to Stephanie. He's the project engineer. And Brad, we already introduced, and so we can go to the next slide. And Mark and Roger are there. Go to the next slide. Okay, so here's the beginning of our story. This picture is actually in the Smithsonian. It is a photo standing at the intersection of Islington and Bridge Street. You're looking at that yellow house that's still there today. And you're looking at the trees that used to be on Islington Street. This photo, from what I can tell, if you look at the photo closely, there are power poles.
Yes.
And one of my favorite things to look at is a little black dog halfway up the curb line on the left-hand side. And he's in the gutter sniffing something. I don't know what he's doing. But there's a manhole right there. That's what that dark shadow is. And there's a hydrant further down the street. And that tells me that this photo was taken immediately after the last time this street got done. And that's a real statement. I'm not even exaggerating. 1895. Next slide. Reason why we redid the street was for that. Because before 1895, we had the wood water main system. And the wood water main system only had about 4 pounds of pressure. So people that were rich enough to have water had a tap, a lead pipe going from the wood water main into their basement. And then down in the basement, you would have a little tap and you'd fill up your bucket so that you would have drinking water through your lead pipe. So you could wash your face and wash up, right? And you would have still, before that, you would have a privy in your backyard, usually behind the kitchen. There'd be a door and a privy that you would go out and do your business outside. So around the 1890s, people started putting plumbing in their houses. So the city had to put in a cast iron water main that Roger's gonna replace. Okay, so it's been there since then. And it's been in service, and it's actually been a really good pipe for us. We've had relatively few breaks on it. In the 131 years it's been in service. But we're gonna put in a bigger pipe, and it's gonna be ductile iron to meet modern water demands. But that picture of the little dog, that's how long it's been, so this street got reconstructed. So later on this summer, when you're sick of me, you want to kill me. And you want to kill Brad,
That's all true.
and you won't want to kill Roger, because he's real nice and he'll be nice to you. But you can direct all your anger toward me, because that's what the city pays me for. I get paid to get darts thrown at me all the time. So when you're sick of me, remember that this is not a paving project. It's not a sidewalk project. It is a soup to nuts reconstruction of the infrastructure of the center of the city. It's replacing the water main. It's replacing the sewer lines. It's putting in a storm drainage system because we don't have one right now in this section of Islington Street that we're about to build. There isn't one. Whatever drains off the street drains into the sewer system. Because back then, right, back then, it was all the same. There was no Clean Water Act. So all the water just went into the mill pond, the North Mill Pond. That's where it all went. So to start this project, and I know a lot of you have been waiting decades for this to happen. So we had to build, in order for the Islington Street project to happen, we had to build the Cabot Street project. We had to build the Brewster Street project. We had to build the Bridge Street project. All those streets had to get reconstructed before we could build this street. Because this street drains into all those streets and we had to have pipes there for them to drain into. That's what took so long. Okay, so now that we're here. And we have our construction team. We're gonna build a new street that we can all be proud of, that can hopefully last another 130 years. That's what we're building. And we're building it with the quality that it's gonna last that long. Maybe not the pavement, because pavements don't last that long, but the underground stuff is gonna last that long. So, that being said, next slide. Project limits and scope of work. So last year, we worked on like Goodwin Park. We redid that front of Goodwin Park, we put in the new fence, we built that new main entrance. I think it looks pretty good. I think Roger did a bang job, honestly. We did phase 2A. There's so many phases, we had to break them up into numbers and letters. So we did Dover Street to Cornwall Street, which is nearly complete. The sidewalk on the north side needs to be finished. So we're gonna actually start with that, but we'll get to schedules and all that stuff further down. And then the main meat of what we're building is phase 2B, which is like the final hurrah. For the most part, we're gonna get it, we believe we're gonna get it substantially complete, just like we did 2A. We think we're gonna have enough time, and yes, it's gonna take all summer. So we think we have enough time to get it substantially complete before the next, whatever this was, I'm not gonna call it winter, because it wasn't, but next slide, please. So that is graphically shown here. The green is all the stuff that Roger and Mark already built. The red is the stuff that we did last year. And now we're going into zone yellow. Isn't it usually red, yellow, green?
Yeah.
Pick the colors.
That might
Next slide, please. Okay, and this is kind of a blow up of that same thing that we were talking about, so I think we can go through that. And so again, phase 2 work is replacing the sewer and water, installing the storm drains that we don't have yet. And then when we get through all that, sidewalk improvements, sidewalks, curbs, the brick strip, the trees, the lights, just like everything else, all the way down the street has looked like, this section will look like too. It's already been designed. The project is through design. We're not changing anything. We're building what's on the approved plan. We have some drainage improvements. We have a flooding, an area of flooding that we have. That's kind of like, across from the auto parts place and, that area. So I'll show you a slide for that. And then we're gonna do a little bit of improvements in the Congress and Islington Street intersection. And just like Cabot Street and Brewster Street were set up for this, the improvements that we're doing are set up for the Congress Street project, which is coming soon to street review. So. Next slide. Cornwall, okay, so this is that intersection. We're gonna be redoing the sidewalks on all 4 corners, where Mike Labrie just redid the building where the health food store used to be. We're gonna put some streetlights on that corner. We're gonna do a little bit of public space right at the head of the Bridge Street lot, not too much, but a little bit there. We'd like to maybe put some art there or something, just so there's something there in that corner that's not parking lot. And then, the corner where the old library is, we're gonna widen out the sidewalks. They're way too narrow. Portsmouth Historical, yes. Thank you for correcting me. Um, And you can see your first view of the blue area. We use blue for water. That's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that is the area, that is a topographical bowl. There is no way that the water can get out of there right now. When it rains, the water just floods that area. And whatever, it has to soak into the ground before it drains. And that has been like that literally forever. It's been like that. It's not a man-made thing. It's literally been like that since day one that the earth was formed after the glaciers left. Next slide.
Is that where the spring is?
There's probably a spring. What?
That's at the State Street.
No.
Something about other spring.
Step in.
Sorry.
So that's, the blue has been now switched to yellow. So in this slide, later on this summer, when we're digging rather ambitiously up Brewster Street and down Islington Street, across from Rock Street, and we're almost story and a half, 2 stories in the ground, trying to drain the hole, you'll see what we're doing, because it'll take a while. Just being honest. So that green pipe is where we have to go in order to drain the hole. That these people in these, mostly condos, but it's the Legion. It's behind the chiropractor. And the house is on State Street too. They've been all been waiting for this project. Literally, I've been talking to them for 2 decades now. So they're happy, I think. I know. Next slide, please.
And it also enables us to remove an entire parking lot worth of combined storm drainage.
Right,
that's
the
going into
entire parking lot for the old telephone building. There was no sewer,
So it's a lot of runoff that we can get out of the
right,
system.
and causes some flooding on State Street because it's such a big area, so it's gonna help with that too. So this is that slide of Congress Street that kind of shows what we're thinking. You can see that on the, on actually both sides of Portsmouth Historical Society.
Thank you.
We're widening out the sidewalk, so we're gonna take the historic granite curb that was there. That kind of hems in the landscaping. We're gonna push that back about 3 feet. So that we can widen the sidewalks out, so there's enough room for people to stand and walk without having to walk in the road. It's kind of a. It's kind of an unwelcome place if you're a pedestrian. So we're gonna encourage some more public activity around the building.
Historically narrow.
Historically narrow. Wow,
Been saying that lately.
right? You know, a lot of people don't know that Maplewood Avenue is a new street. And before that, Congress Street actually ended at Bridge Street. Yeah, so Maplewood Avenue was not there. There were buildings there. So the health food store was added, right? The building that Saki was in, which is now the Jazz Club, the Jimmy's. So that was the last building. That building was so nice that they kept it. But then there were like 4 or 5 buildings all the way through the Bridge Street lot. So people coming up Congress Street used to go down Bridge Street. Because Maplewood Avenue wasn't there. So, so all that stuff with the sidewalks is just kind of like leftover from urban renewal that never got dealt with. The Bridge Street lot itself is urban renewal. So anyway. Construction starts April 9th. It actually started this morning. So, right. So Roger was out there, we hired a drill rig and we're looking for ledge. And that's where they were drilling for, and is that continuing tomorrow?
No.
No, it was a 1-day thing. So we're just trying to really get a handle on how long we think it's gonna take to build the project out. We're still kind of working on the schedule a little bit. But it's just for planning of how we're gonna remove ledge where we need to. We need to know how shallow or deep the ledge is so that we know what we're dealing with. So that's what was going on today. We plan to build a project in 3 distinct sections. So not only is it project 2B, but now it's subset 1, 2, and 3, or actually zone A, B, and C subset of that. So we've broken it up from Cornwall to Brewster Street, not including the Brewster Street intersection. Zone A. And then zone C will get dealt with next. And that's from Maplewood Ave to Pearl Street. And we're doing that specifically because there's a lot of businesses from Summer to really the Langdon Street. And so that we're not taking all the parking away from those people all at the same time. We've kind of phased and broke the project into these 3 pieces. That's why we did. So, and then zone B is Brewster Street proper to Pearl Street. So that'll be actually the last section that gets built is gonna be in the middle. So we're gonna start April 9th. And we're gonna start over by where they left off at Cornwall Street. And they're gonna continue up till they get near Brewster Street. And then, while the piping crew is putting in the water mains and the sewer lines and storm drains in that area, the surface crew is gonna be building the sidewalks from Cabot Street up on the north side where they stopped last year. And then they're gonna keep working out till they get to Brewster Street. So the underground crew is gonna get done, and then the surface crew is gonna come up right behind it. Meanwhile, the underground crew is gonna go downtown. And they're gonna start in May at that intersection. And they're gonna start replacing the water mains, sewers, and installing the storm drain up to Pearl Street. And then the surface crew is gonna come behind them and start finishing that work. And then when the surface crew is in that zone B, zone C, then the pipe crew will finally start that middle section. But by then, the work will be done on the other side of Brewster Street, so that we can park over by the strip condos and in front of the mobile, so that there's some parking. Because then the most intensive part of the underground work is gonna be from Brewster to Pearl Street. So that's where the drain has to go really deep to drain the hole. Sewers have to go in. And the water main replacement as well. And then once all that stuff's done, we still gotta do conduit work for the street lighting. Curbing in, build the sidewalks. So all those crews will follow behind the DP. So it'll be finally orchestrated. Next slide. I just kind of went through that. I think we can skip.
You can keep on going. I added the animations on to show them as they got done.
I didn't know. I should have.
Oh,
Traffic patterns. Okay, so. Mostly. When they're working on the ends, we're gonna be doing 1-lane reversible with flaggers. Just like last year. Except there's gonna be 2 work zones, right? Because they're gonna be working. On one side from Cornwall. To almost Brewster, and then the other crew will start up and they'll be working. Down by Portsmouth Historical.
Thank you very much.
Up to Pearl Street. So there's gonna be 2 work zones going on. So it's not just gonna be 1 work zone like last year, it's gonna be 2 work zones. And then there'll still be 2 because they'll be done on the other side of Brewster Street, on the west side of Brewster. But then the pipe crew will be working. Putting in the deep stuff by Summer Street. And the surface crew will be working, still coming from downtown. So during that middle section, because the pipes are going down so deep, we're probably gonna have a period of time where the road in the center is gonna be closed to through traffic. Because the pipes are gonna be too deep to allow traffic. There won't even be enough room for lanes. We won't get anything done if we allow traffic. So there'll be a time where we're gonna be using Cabot Street. And what's the other one? Summer? Summer, right? Cabot Street and Summer as a detour route using State Street. Which is why we redid State Street, so we can do that. Again, this is all organization, right? You have to build this so you can do that. So that's why State Street got done 2 years ago, so that we can run pedestrians and traffic down State Street. So, next slide. And one lane alternating, I think everybody gets that after what they went through last year. And there's your section of deep work. Utility connections. Okay, so we are planning on new everything. So when we say new everything, we will be installing new sewer, water, and a storm drain connection to every house, at least to the property line. Most of the houses and properties on the street, the front of their house is actually the right of way line. So we'll actually go up to the house. If the house, for whatever reason, is set back, then we'll go to the front property line. So if a sewer service discharges out the back of your building and you like to connect to Roger's new sewer pipe, please contact us for coordination. That applies to the following 5 houses. 100, 96, 86, 72, 56, and maybe others. But those are the 5 that we're absolutely sure about. They drain out the back of their house. They go across the backyards. They go across the backyards of the people on State Street, and they go into the State Street system. So if your pipe fails, you're on your own. You got like 300 feet of sewer pipe out to State Street, and it's all yours. So be fair warned, and we're gonna provide you with a stub to the front of the house. Our recommendation is you use it and you abandon the line that's 300 feet long. But you don't have to. This is still America. You don't have to. You don't have to do that. Next slide. Drain services will be provided. We want you to separate your sump pumps and put them in the storm sewer, please. Right now, it doesn't matter because it's all the same pipe. In the future, it will matter because storm sewers don't have to get treated by the sewer treatment plant that we all paid for. Okay, but the storm drains are there for a reason, and we would like you to separate sump pumps out. Water services get replaced to the curb stop. That's that little disc out in the sidewalk. If you don't know what that is, that's a tube, probably as high as me, not very high. That we have an operating rod that we can shut your water off if you don't pay your water bill. That's what that is. So that's where the city ownership ends, is that valve. So Roger will be replacing the lines under the road up to the valve. If you want to replace your side of the line, okay, you don't have to, because this is America. Next slide. And here's a slide. I'm showing kind of what I was just explaining. The slide on the left is the water main that Roger's going to put in. In the slide, it's only 3/4 filled with water. Ours will be filled, right, Roger?
Yes.
Okay, and then that valve is that round thing that's kind of there, and then everything from the green arrow is yours. And the slides on the right are, and we don't think that we have any of these. We've been checking for galvanized water pipes everywhere, but as far as we know, we don't have any galvanized services. Do we? Is that true?
I believe Brad did most of
There's
the
a
basements.
couple, not many.
There's a couple?
Yeah,
Do we know who they are?
yeah, we noted it. Yeah, but there's not many.
But you're not prepared to say.
Number 75 and number 82.
Okay, 75 and 82. You might have what's on the right. Is a steel pipe. So back in the day. Steel was kind of a new thing and they didn't understand. They thought that if they galvanized the pipe. Galvanized, it wouldn't last, it would last forever. But apparently, if you run running water. Through a steel pipe, you eventually erode the galvanized surface. And then you get rust. You get rust from the inside out. So you don't even know it's rusty. And then all of a sudden, boom, you got no water. So, and that will be on your side. So if you have a pipe that looks like that, that has threaded fittings going through your wall, you should change it out. You don't have to, but it'd be real expensive if you don't. But you don't have to because it's America. Next slide. So public information sources that aren't incorrect gossip. Okay, these are the following places that we will send you information. The key to the information is gonna be talking to the two guys that are gonna be out in the street. They will know what's going on, mostly him. He knows what's going on a little bit, for the most part, but if you want it straight, talk to Roger, okay? And, so those are the number one and number two places to get information. Number three, message boards. So we'll throw message boards up. Those are mostly made for the traveling public. To let them know when we're about to block up the street and cause them inconvenience, which we will do. But that's why Middle Street's gonna be open this year, because we finished it last year, planning for this. Right? So, social media. That's Stephanie and Monty will be doing the social media thing. I can't tell a tweet from a Facebookie from a whatever, so I don't do that. That's why they do that. And the project has a web page, believe it or not, we have a web page. And on the web page, you can find what's going on for the weekly email blast. So we'll send you that email blast if you sign up. But we'll also put the information there. So if you want to go just to the web page and you want to get bothered, that's fine. It's there. The project plans will also be there. So if you want to see what the heck they're building, if you want to try to figure it out, feel free. And the email distribution list, we already talked about. The biggest question I get asked, and this is the last thing I want to say for the question, is how come they dig the hole? How come they dig the hole in the same spot 15 times? And it's not because it's fun, but because you have to understand the nature of construction. So in order to replace all these lines, we have to still provide you with water, sewer, not storm drain, there aren't any. But we have to give you water and sewer uninterrupted service. So to do that, we are gonna put a temporary water main down street. And when first holes we're gonna dig is we're gonna, after we chlorinate it, test it, make sure it's safe. We're gonna hook everybody's water service to that in each of the 3 zones. So that's gonna be your water supply. It's gonna come off one of the hydrants. We're gonna run a pipe right down the sidewalk, kind of underneath the street crossings as we go. That's gonna be your water supply. So after that, we can dig through the existing water line, because the new water lines go pretty much where the old one is, right?
Yep.
So that's why we have to do that. And then the old sewer pipe, we have to keep everybody going. So a lot of times we have to dig the same hole because multiple times, because we dig it once to put in the main. Then we have to test the pipes. So we have to make sure that they're not leaky. And the reason why we do that is because we don't want all that groundwater going to the sewer treatment plant. It's the same reason why we're giving you a stormwater connection. So to do that type of stuff, we have to build the water main, test it, chlorinate it, make sure it's good, make sure it's safe. Dig that back up so we can run your individual pipes. So it's gonna look like they dug the same hole 15 times. It's gonna look like that to you. And I assure you that every time they dig the hole, they're doing something slightly different. But if you get annoyed because they're digging in the same spot 15 times, just understand that it's all for your safety. Okay? And then I think that's it. What do we got here?
It's the webpage.
Okay, that's a picture of the webpage. And that's cityofportsmouth.com. Right? And then under that, there's a little tab for city projects. And there's a tab for this project, and that's where it lives. Okay, cityofportsmouth.com. Hey, we're there. We made it. Okay. Go ahead.
I have a question. I want to know, it's in the stand on outfit, so we can recognize it different than all the other seven we have got.
Typically, yes.
Yes, usually Roger is just, is it blue this year?
Green, Severino green.
Oh, you switched.
Severino Green.
Last year was blue.
No, you just ask for me by name.
You have to get your own name.
Yeah, well, you just ask me for a name, I'll be there.
I'm not gonna label
Say it 3
Roger.
times,
You don't need to label Roger. It's not gonna happen.
like Beetlejuice, it just.
Right.
If I don't have any questions, do I have to stay? No questions. tonight.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a pay on it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
The
You're next.
streets that are one way, either
Yeah,
like Rock Street going down.
Yep.
or What happens when?
chaos.
I know, especially where you're gonna shut down the whole street.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna
That
be
will
right.
be, we'll have a flagger at one end of the street. And the other end of the street, for when that's happening. We'll make sure there's provisions to run two-way traffic up a one-way street. Okay, because we do think of things like that,
I just didn't remember.
I mean, not every day.
But thanks.
but sometimes I think it's. Okay, go ahead.
We are lucky number 86.
Yeah.
Our sewer pipe that is made of torn plates and going back to State Street.
Yep,
So you said to contact us to coordinate that reroute with us.
Brad,
Brad?
Brad is your, Brad is your
Yeah.
contact.
I just wasn't sure who.
So again, we'll be putting in a sewer pipe
Congratulations,
right
Brad.
in front of your front wall. We'll put it right where you tell us to put it. And if you need to, you would need to coordinate with a plumber to switch the internal plumbing to direct it out the front wall. That's what you gotta do. That's your share.
Okay.
And then our share would be,
Brad and then.
yep, start with Brad.
Okay,
I'll go back in there and take them up.
thanks, Brad.
Highly recommended, but you don't have to. This is your- Okay,
So of course, I live on the corner of Brewster and Hanover,
yep,
I mean, down near Robin. So the last few years, they've blocked off access down Hill Street, so I can take Hill Street down into my house.
yep.
I'm just hoping they're not gonna block that off this year. Cause
I'm
that's,
hoping that too.
I don't know who's in charge of that, but,
Eric Eby.
okay.
That's
Yep.
phone
Cause
number.
it's gonna be vital this year for us to get to our house.
It's gonna be vital
Down-
for everybody, including the
street.
4 buildings that they're building at the other end of Hill Street.
It's a mess, but when Islington.
They're working through that. And I'm not gonna get into it, but I understand your position
Okay,
and I agree with it.
so talk to Mr. Eby.
Yes, talk to Mr. Eby, who couldn't be here tonight. He wanted to be, but he couldn't.
He didn't want to be here.
No, he did want to be. Honestly, that's true. Anybody else? Yes,
Well, I think you mentioned the Brewster Street intersection with Islington.
Yeah.
Wondering, what's happening there in terms of traffic calming or any pedestrian measures? Is it still just gonna be the the crosswalk, or is there any else?
it'll be the crosswalk, it'll be what's on the design plans.
Can you repeat? I haven't seen the plan.
I haven't, I don't think I even, do we know?
I have the plan right
You
here.
have the plans, you
Yeah.
look at the plan, that's it.
Is there still time to advocate for any, I mean,
No.
if it's just a
We're building a
crosswalk,
project. It was a
What's the
construction meeting, not a design.
what are the right ways if it is just a crosswalk? 'Cause that's a section of Islington between Middle and Cabot where cars really speed up, because there's nothing, there's no stop sign, there's no yield sign, there's almost nothing.
Mhm.
Kids crossing there.
Understand that the project is designed to throttle down
Right, so
traffic.
I'm asking what the right avenue is to advocate
Right.
for something like that.
So you
beyond-
don't, you shouldn't need to, because the project is designed to mitigate that speed already.
Oh, how so?
Narrowed up.
Narrowing
It's
it down.
narrowed up. We've narrowed up the street.
There's a new, like, the other template of everything else on that we built on Islington at the Brewster Street intersection. There should be a new. One of the black ornate lights with the pedestrian crossing.
Oh, so there is gonna be a pedestrian.
Yeah, the piano keys going directly across. It's kind of a weird angle. It comes from the mobile station to like a little island in front of like the new Islington place or.
180.
So there is a small island and they'll have those piano bars
Yeah, yeah.
and there,
the
have the little
blinking
guy
light.
walking.
Okay.
I don't know if EB would go back to the blinking light if it became an issue after the.
So we're gonna build the project, it's designed that we paid a lot of money for
Sure.
design to throttle traffic. We're gonna build what they gave us. And then we're gonna see how it works.
Right, I understand. I'm
That's
just
the
trying to
straight
understand
answer.
what's.
That's the straight answer.
That's a short version of it.
Okay, anybody else? You got people online and yes,
Myla Casson.
of course you can.
I know that there's a lot of issues as people are coming up Bridge Street to Islington, that they make illegal left-hand turns. Or is
Yep.
there anything in the plan to try to keep that from happening? The sign is just isn't very expensive.
Oh, it's clear.
No.
No, if they want to take a left, they're gonna take a left.
On where?
And at certain times of the day,
Islington, or
certain
Bridge
times of the
on
day,
Islington
or other times of the day,
towards Maplewood.
certain times of the day,
There's a no left sign like right
mean-
there, but everybody just goes on and takes it.
not everybody.
A lot of people.
You, okay? A lot of people do.
The sign's up, they're choosing not to.
Oh, it's kind of like the end of
Are
June.
the sidewalks all the way to Converse gonna be concrete with the brick
Yes,
to the streets?
affirmative. Yes,
So there's a section like where Lexi's is.
Yeah.
Before Lexi's where in the parking lot.
Sea of asphalt?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do there?
You know what we did across from the White Heron in front of Harvey's, Dr. Harvey's dentistry? Same thing. Yes,
Okay.
not. No.
Wouldn't it be nice if the stripes were there?
Stripes will go in as soon as we can paint.
Okay.
We couldn't paint. We didn't have, so the reason why I didn't paint the stripes for those who didn't ask me over the course of the winter, and there was many of them, is because the sidewalk didn't get built. So the truncated domes weren't there, so I couldn't stripe a crosswalk because it would have been illegal for me to do that. So we put up the signs that said, people are crossing here, and that's the best we could do. Once we built the sidewalk on the north side, and we have the little truncated domes, striping a temporary sidewalk. Crosswalk, okay? That's the reason.
Changing. As you take,
Last one for a while, because I got people waiting. Yeah.
you take a
Yep.
right onto Cabot. And that whole sidewalk has been changed. It works great because it doesn't get so wet there now. There's no flooding. Is that gonna stay like that or is that gonna be changed?
That intersection's done.
Not the intersection, the sidewalk on the left side as you could take a right from Islington Street onto Cabot. After getting gas station.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty much the same size, same shape as it was. Yes, sir.
Are you gonna do your best to coordinate with the people with changes? I don't know.
All utility poles are done, so we don't have to do that.
What they are.
I have one pole that Verizon needs to, or Consolidated needs to transfer off of, and then we can pull it. That's the only pole that is left.
Yeah.
They've all been done already. Yep. Online.
Okay, Tom? You got a minute?
Yeah, just the question about, I heard Langdon was gonna be shut down while they're working on that first zone, so it's a one-way street now and there'd be no parking on it. Is that true?
Oh, it's not true. We didn't say that.
Okay, I just wanted to check.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, so website, I got business cards here,
Right there.
in case you wanna call me,
Will you be putting the slides on the project webpage?
Stephanie will.
Thank you, Stephanie.
And this is being recorded, so the recording of this whole meeting will also be on the
Yep.
website, on page.
So that way, when the city manager wants to talk to me tomorrow, I know what it's about. Yep. Anybody else? Okay, thank you guys for coming. Yeah,
One quick comment, there is a short link, I know there was a really long link in that end of the slideshow here. There's a short link for the project page, and if you look on the social media, the Facebook post from the city of Portsmouth, it's there, but I can give it to anybody who wants it.
And it's also, so on the homepage for the city website, there's a banner right at the top and it says seasonal projects. If you click on that, you find summaries of all the projects, but there's that specific link to this Islington Street project from that homepage.
So if you wanna know about Bartlett Street or any of the other ones,
All the other things that we have tomorrow night,
Maplewood
the next
Bridge.
week, the week after that, yes. It's gonna be a busy summer. Thank you.
Sagamore.
Wow. Those are bookings.
That was fun.
I think so.
April 19th, April 14th.